Hey everyone. Hi Cancer. Alright, welcome to Opal Oracle. If you are new, if you're returning, hi. Hi there, thanks for coming back. Alright, mid-month. Let me tune in a second here. Oh, I chose, we're doing the same reading, the same spread I did in October. What you want, what you need, what's helping, what's hindering, the overall result. We have a, the result of this time frame of these messages and these cards, you know. And then a card that represents the overarching energy, which is the Knight of Cups. And then I also chose one from the Mary L. Tarot, and we got the Chariot. This card specifically is in relation to the Venus retrograde. I'm going to start picking one each time frame just as we go through this, because Venus being retrograde in her own sign is, and in Scorpio, is pretty intense. The Chariot here shows me that your message during this time, let me write that down for you. I like that it's your card. It really is about, like, this Venus retrograde, specifically during this time, this Venus transit is about you keeping focus on the goal. And also understanding, as a cardinal sign, like, each person has to have their own independence. Okay? Every person has to be independent. Have their own goals. You know, no one can have anyone do that for them. No one can drive this chariot for you. You know, because even if you end up where it is that you want to be, when you get there, it won't feel rewarding. Right? It won't feel it won't feel genuine. So there also could be something about that, if we're talking about people that you are emotionally connected to, there's something that feels contentful, and then there's also something that is uncertain in a way, like mistrusting a little bit. You're still being a bit protective to your own feelings. There are a lot of feelings here too. I see it's important to not be petty or pick apart anything about the house, home, within the home. Okay? You want to make sure that home, I also see that it's really important during this time, you're going to be figuring out something about how home and your inspiration can exist in the same space and time, but there's also something about keeping those separated, right? I just heard like really pretty music that isn't there. Like church bells that were slowed down. Now, I know you want to put something, right now you want to put something, like action towards something. And there is a choice to be made. And I see that it's really an important choice, okay? It's something you really care about. It's something that has to do with who it is that you are, like who Cancer is. Everything about the 4th house, you know, like all the things that make you feel. Part of the choices has to do with your own comfortability and stability within your feelings, okay? Because although the Chariot and the Knight of Cups is really, you know, forward momentum, it can be a card of success. This is like, you know, someone being really dedicated, like willing to not just get their feet wet, I heard, but to put forth energy and time, right, to achieve some sort of goal. Both of these are kind of, they're moving, and I sense that you don't really like to move, right? There's something about you want stability in it, right? Four of Wands is one of your cards. And this is what you need. You need your home at this time also to be really stable and comfortable, and you also need to be like excited and impassioned, I heard, by your, if you're in a marriage or you live with your significant other or whoever it is that you live with. There's something about, you know, and even if no one's there, you live alone, you're single folk living alone, like, you know, be in touch and appreciative and passionate about your plants, about your animals, about you and home, just loving that kind of, there's something about inspiration in that, but you only find that inspiration through appreciation. There's something about, for a lot of you, that sex is actually one of the problems. This is in what's hindering. I see this in two ways. One is, as I see it, this is specific, but for some of you who are married, it's like, or in a relationship, like, sex is something that sometimes is fine and good, but then in another way it's, and this could just be the way you think about it when you're in a relationship if you're not, okay, but it's like there's some sort of friction within that, and again, you're a little bit protective of your feelings about it. I heard maybe nobody's ever loved you like that before. Excuse me, hold on. It goes back to that full moon will be really helpful, okay, in Taurus on the 25th. It's like, you know what it is. You know what it is, but if like, I feel like I don't even know how to say it. It's really interesting. I just keep looking at this 9 of Cups and then this 8 of Cups. Well, there's something that has to be separated that was emotionally connected to you. Some of you also, like, want to move, or you don't know what to do about your home, about your relationship. In a lot of ways, it does satisfy you. In a lot of ways, it's creative and passionate. But then in a lot of ways, it's kind of overwhelming. And you just wish that that overwhelming part would kind of deplete. But it has to do, because this is your reading, it's about you figuring out what it is that you need. Like, how is it that your I feel? Like, how is it that you need to feel? How is it that you feel daily, I heard? And then how is it that you need to feel comfortable? You know, what do you need emotionally from people? And I heard, what is it that you're still hiding, that you're embarrassed of? Actually, I want an extra card for... It's too many. One sec. Wow. Okay. Well, the Knight turns into the King. Strength right beneath that. Okay. For clarifiers, these cards just came out. For those of you who are blind, we have Justice, all major arcana. Justice, Judgment, the Hierophant, and the Temperance. Now, whatever it is you're trying to figure out, some of you could also have like a home business, or I see that you could be lucrative where you maybe work from home in some context. You know, maybe you work at the office some of the time, maybe you do some of your work at home. But right now, you shouldn't, don't spend any, I heard don't spend any money on things that you're trying to better in your life somehow, specifically during Libra season. I see that you should just kind of focus on like advertising, things like this, like, but what is advertising also? Like letting someone know that something is available, right? That there is an option, right? So that's important too. I really feel like the things that you don't know how to, like, because I heard sometimes you're discontented with, I'm glad I said discontented. Well, I'll say the sentence that I guess was about to come out of this mouth, was you're discontented with what used to make you happy, okay? Like, you understand, you're starting to understand that you're just sort of like, what used to, all these things that used to make you happy and be like, yeah, this is, I feel good. It doesn't make you happy anymore. And so you have to, because it's not about the physical thing, right? It's about how we feel. Your I feel, again, very important. I see this full moon really like, because I sense that there's something that you think, just, you know that it goes together, but then in some ways I sense that there's friction within that. But by December or so, you can really suss out, if you want to, any reasons that you're, sorry, still sad about anything. Because, you know, whatever it is, if there is anything that you're still, you know, and I don't sense this necessarily in your physical world, it's more of an internal process, but like, I want you to know that those feelings are justified, okay? Your concerns are justified. I really see you not, like for most of you, if you're doing any kind of home renovation too, I wouldn't spend any money right now. There's something about that, because Venus is also in retrograde, which means that anything that you think is, like if you try to remodel your kitchen or something and you hadn't considered this before, like, you know, say your wife or whoever is just like, oh, this is really, oh, these cabinets are beautiful. Like, yes, this. But then when Venus goes direct again, they're going to be like, I hate these. I can't believe we put this in. You just spent like 30 grand. You know what I mean? Like, don't, and this could be something, I mean, you want to do something simple, you get a little extra money to throw around, fine. But I don't see any big, I don't really see these kind of things. It's interesting. I don't see any kind of big purchases would be necessary. You know, I guess that also could be like therapeutic shopping. You know, I wouldn't waste too much on that either. It's more about taking that time and it just, again, like maybe you just need to rearrange your home, you know, to beautify it in some way. Take what it is that you already have, you know, using correct judgment about that so that you can have a more energetic flow of where it is that you are. Because most Cancers kind of, they like, sometimes they like clutter around them, right? It reminds you of things. It gives you memories. It's, well, clutter to other people, but to you it's not. It's just things that are there. So, something about that too. Interesting. Alright, we're going to pick from the Warrior of the Light. My homegirl Danielle sent me this book and this beautiful art package. Thanks, Danielle. It's the same man who wrote The Alchemist. I wasn't aware of this, but Cancer. It says, a warrior of the light is reliable. He makes a few mistakes. He sometimes thinks he is more important than he really is, but he does not lie. When people gather around the fire, he talks to his friends, male and female. He knows that his words are stored in the memory of the universe, like a testimony of what he thinks. The warrior asks himself, why do I talk so much, when often I am incapable of carrying out everything I say? His heart replies, when you defend your ideas in public, you then have to make an effort to live accordingly. Wow. Okay. It is because he believes that he is what he says he is that the warrior ends up becoming precisely that. It is because he believes that he is what he says he is that the warrior ends up becoming precisely that. So maybe there's a lot of internal dialogue that needs to happen. Maybe there's things that also maybe there's a lot being said that isn't necessarily being done, or that was the case and now it's different, and there's something about it being confusing. So remember, I guess, that words are powerful, and when you speak them, Yeah, you gotta say what you mean and do what you say. That's important for this time. Something really simple to be aware of, you know. And also kind of upholding other people for that if it has to do with you. You know what I mean? Because I know sometimes you're non-confrontational like that. You'll sort of let people slide, even though you're cardinal, because you're so caring and understand, you know, you don't like to fight, most of you. So, you know, if someone's saying a bunch of things that they're going to do, say they say a whole bunch and they don't do it, well, that's when you have to call them out and be like, hey, you know, I don't mind if you don't. I don't mind if you don't do it, but don't tell me that you will when you won't, because what happens with that, it causes a mistrust. Even if it's something as simple as like, oh yeah, I'll pick that up at the store or whatever. You know, if you don't have time, then you don't have time. If someone doesn't have time, they don't have time. If it's not the right time, then it's not the right time. But so something about that, Cancer. It's kind of speaking up for yourself when it comes to other folks, and then also holding yourself to that same accountability. You know what I mean? All right. Happy mid-October till whenever. Be well.